All right, what is up, everybody? Hope everybody's having a blessed Monday. We have hot and fresh our tier list maker on the Antichrist. I hope you guys are super excited as I am when I made this. It took me a long time to make this this tier list for y'all. Let me go ahead and pull this up for you guys so you can kind of see me. How's everybody doing? We are going to get started in just a couple seconds. Let me know how y'all are doing in the chat. Hope everybody's having a blessed Monday. And yeah, so this is the tier list that we have for today in order to identify who the Antichrist actually is. Now, before we get started with exactly like ranking, for those who don't know, a tier list is essentially we're going to have tiers from D all the way up to S, and we're going to be ranking who are the best candidates for the Antichrist. Now, we're going to get into specifically what the criteria is for the Antichrist. We're actually going to be looking at what the Bible has to say. So we're going to be scoring it based on, actually, let me pull it up right here. So we have the criterion for the Antichrist. There's going to be 12 levels that we're going to be identifying. And so let's just go ahead and get into it. So here's what we know about the Antichrist according to the Bible. This is from the Bible. This isn't from pop culture. This is what we're going to be scoring these members on. The first is that he is going to arise from a 10-nation confederation. Okay, this is from Revelation 13. The second is his empire is described as a combination of three empires, described as a lion, a leopard, and a bear. Okay, very important. The third one is he may receive a mortal wound and then be revived. We're gonna go back to this one specifically, y'all, because this actually gets kind of complicated. Many people think the Antichrist is actually going to receive a mortal wound, but this actually gets really deep into the text. We're going to look into it. That's the third one. The fourth one, he will blaspheme God and his dwelling place within Israel. Okay. Number 5, he will wage war on God's people and conquer them for 3.5 years. If you're just entering the chat, we're going over the 12 criteria for the Antichrist that we're going to be ranking in this video. Number 6, he's going to be a charismatic political military leader. Okay. Looks like I must have put 6 twice. Good thing I didn't put it 3 times, y'all. That would have been bad. Okay, so number 7, he sits in the temple of God, proclaims to be God. Number 8, he honors a foreign god of war. This is according to Daniel 11:35-36. Okay, number 8, this one's really important. He is of Assyrian descent, according to Micah 5:5 and according to Isaiah 11. And also including Ezekiel, he will be an Assyrian. Okay, we'll discuss that as we move forward. Number 9, he will deny the Father and the Son. That's according to 1 John. Number 10, he shall attempt to change times and laws, according to Daniel 7. Number 11, his kingdom will be divided. And number 12, he will make a 7-year peace treaty with the Jews. So this is what we are dealing with, guys. Sorry, for those who don't know, my voice is I've been going live so often, and so my voice is like dead already. I need to figure if somebody has a way for me to fix my voice while I'm doing these live streams, because it gets to a point where it like physically hurts. So be praying. Anyway, let's go back to our tier list, okay, guys? So here is our tier list. And here are going to be our 12 candidates, okay? Here are the 12 candidates. We got Elon Musk. We got Joe Biden. Mr. Beast. Obama, okay? We have Putin. Andrew Tate. This one's going to be really interesting. Andrew Tate. Donald J. Trump. We got the Yanuka. This is the guy who everybody's been talking about, in Israel. Okay, he's kind of the false messianic guy. We have King Charles. I've been getting a lot of people hitting me up about King Charles. Emperor Nero, the Pope, and then the Mahdi. All right. So let's get a couple comments, and let's go ahead and see what everybody's saying. So up north says Nostradamus said his name would be Mobus or MBS, one that is close to Mohammed bin Salman. Sounds good, dude. Animation said keep sharing. I will, brother. Keep up the prayers, guys. I need them. Okay, so just prayed for you, Jericho, and for everyone watching this to tuning in to be led by the Holy Spirit and for eyes to see and for ears to hear, for God's will to be done. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. So without further ado, comment in the chat who you think the Antichrist is. If we get to one of the members, like you think Mr. Beast or you think Joe Biden, comment whenever we're in the section, and I will try to see your comment and we can debate it live. Okay, because we are live. So without further ado, I'm going to grab a drink and we're going to start with our first candidate. All right. So in our number one spot, starting off this tier list maker, we have none other than... Oh, shit, I just dropped water on my computer. Excuse me, guys. My bad. Okay, we have none other than Elon Musk. So let me make sure you guys can see this. Where do I rank Elon Musk in terms of the Antichrist? Okay, if you guys thought that I was going to put him anywhere other than D, you do not know me. Okay, because no matter what you think about Elon Musk, no matter what you think about Neuralink, no matter what you think about the Mark of the Beast, the chip, this is a D candidate. Okay, he is one of the worst candidates, and we're going to explain why. Remembering briefly the criterion that we set in the beginning. Okay, we're going to be referencing this as we move forward, but I want us to look specifically at the microchip man. All right, because this is why everybody thinks he's the Antichrist. It's because he's the microchip guy, right? He's the guy that has Neuralink. So I put right here, the reason one that people think he's the Antichrist is Neuralink is his microchip company that specifically inserts a chip into your forehead. Okay. And we know, according to Revelation, the mark of the beast is going to be issued on the right hand, or the forehead and the right hand. That's where the mark of the beast is going to be inserted or placed. Now, many people think, well, he is, his company is about Neuralink, and specifically the chip that they're creating, which is supposed to roll out in the next couple months, is specifically inserted into your forehead. And it's supposed to allow you to like telepathically talk to other people and do all these crazy things, give sight to the blind, allow people, paraplegics, to move. But that seems to be the extent of really the only like really good possible reasons why he could be the Antichrist. Number two, he's the richest man alive, right? So people think he's really influential. He has tons of money. I think he's actually vying for that spot with Jeff Bezos. I think they're kind of going tit for tat. Number three, he owns SpaceX, the leading spacefaring company in the world. Okay, so I don't know where people are getting the fact that, oh, he's doing all this spaceship stuff. Somehow that means he's the Antichrist. But that's kind of what I got when I did my research. Here's an interesting tidbit. He actually wore satanic red armor at a red carpet event. So I think I actually have Neuralink right here. This is specifically what happened. So right here, if you guys can see this. Okay, let me pull this up. So yeah, it says right here, Elon Musk celebrated Halloween by dressing in a satanic suit of armor, complete with a Baphomet skull and inverted cross. This is the picture. And if you look at all the videos that talk about Elon Musk as the Antichrist, they're gonna have this picture on it, right? Because he's wearing the satanic armor and he's got like a Baphomet symbol, which we know Baphomet is the Baal deity. It's the god deity. So I mean, it's kind of suspicious, you know what I mean? But is it suspicious enough to think that he is the biblical Antichrist? Absolutely not. Okay, that we need to be responsible. We need to basically be thinking biblically about this type of stuff. Okay, so yeah, that's really the extent to why people think he is the Antichrist. So I have put his score to be a 0. Now, when we look back at the criteria that we were using, you're going to gain one score for hitting at least one of these areas, except for this one that says he is a charismatic political military leader, because all of these guys that are on here are charismatic leaders. So I just kind of wiped the board. Nobody's getting a point for that because that's what they are. So Elon Musk doesn't tick any of these boxes. Okay, the only box that he ticks is possibly the mark of the beast that's inserted into your right hand or your forehead, but that's the false prophet. I mean, are you guys listening to me? The false prophet is the one that is issuing the mark of the beast. The false prophet is the one that essentially inserts that chip into the right hand or into the forehead. So Elon Musk absolutely cannot be the Antichrist. He could be the false prophet for this one singular reason, but for no other reason whatsoever. So hopefully that makes sense. I hope that those who think Elon Musk is the Antichrist really looks through this criteria that the Bible gives us, because it's just not there. So he's the first one on our list. He gets a score of 0. Okay. So going back to our tier list, he is going to be the first one in the D category. Let me quickly scroll through the chat to see if anybody specifically thinks he is the Antichrist. Okay. Oh man, I don't know why this is zooming in like this, man. This is what I said. I need to get a moderator because I'm totally tripping out right now. I'm so sorry, guys. I see, like, why is this zoomed in? Okay, so whatever. So let's just, if you think Elon Musk is the Antichrist, sorry, bro, we're going to have to skip it. So going back to the mark of the beast. Oh my goodness, guys. I'm totally losing it right now. I can't find it. Be praying, okay? Because last time we had a live too, my live got completely dismantled. Okay. Shoot. Well, I'm going to make this into a video after this. So, I mean, if you guys want like a 30-minute video where it's all concise, I'll make a video after this. But the live stream is what we're going to do. Good. Shoot. I apologize, guys. Can you see? I can't even see. I'll be right back, guys. Give me 1 sec, okay? 1 sec. Okay, we're back. All right. That was really awkward. I'm sorry, guys. I tried my hardest at this. I spent a lot of time working on the slides, but I must have not spent a lot of time working on this. So whatever, kind of a weird energy, but we're going to keep going with it. So Elon Musk, okay, he's in D tier. Now we're going to be looking at number 2, which is going to be Joe Biden. This one's an interesting one. I'm going to stick Joe Biden just behind Elon Musk because this is a terrible, terrible theory. Please, if you think that this is true, listen to what I have to say. Okay? Here's the slide where we discuss Sleepy Joe Biden. All right, here we go. So when I was doing my research on this, I found really 3 options about why Joe Biden could possibly be the Antichrist. Okay, the first of these is that Joe Biden is pushing the Antichrist agenda within kind of American politics. You know, he's supporting LGBTQ, he's supporting abortion. So what? Okay, how many presidents have been Democratic? How many presidents have supported all these things? Doesn't mean they're the Antichrist, right? The other reason I got was the Antichrist would have to be a Democrat if he was a president. And like, I'm serious, y'all. When I researched this, these were the only options I found because I really dug deep and I was like, look, let's actually look at what these people are saying. They literally said, oh, the Antichrist would have to be a Democrat if he was the president. So that literally means nothing to a biblical kind of expectation. He is the false prophet. This is number 3. He is the false prophet who will lead the world back into the service of Obama. That one's my favorite because Obama actually has some reason why, and we're going to get into it. Joe Biden has literally 0 reason why. Okay. So I honestly should have put him as a -1 because I couldn't find a single thing. There wasn't, like, he's not even charismatic. Okay. He's Sleepy Joe. And I'm not a Joe Biden fan, but I'm not like political. Like, that's not what I'm doing in this live stream. But everybody knows Joe Biden is not a charismatic leader. Okay. So he gets a negative score below 0. Okay. So that's Joe Biden. Okay, so I got to do this. Anyway, Now let's move to one of my favorites that I've seen across the board in the past couple months. And that's going to be Mr. Beast. So Mr. Beast has been popping up on a lot of these videos saying, oh, Mr. Beast is the Antichrist. I've had so many dreams. And they make a decent amount of points. Okay, but I'm going to stick him probably above, or actually behind, Elon Musk, and definitely above Joe Biden, but he is still in the trash category. This is a garbage Antichrist candidate. All due respect, not a very good candidate. We look at what the people are saying about him. So the first thing is he is Mr. Beast. Okay, that's one of the main things, is his name literally is Mr. Beast. And we know, according to Revelation, that the name of the beast, there's the name, the number, and then there's the mark in the image. So somehow they think, oh, Mr. Beast, because his name, it's within his title, that therefore means that he is connected to the Antichrist. Okay, that's the first reason. The second reason, people will love him because he helps homeless people. Okay, so he does a lot of philanthropy in his videos. He just released a video where he healed 100 blind people using technology, and so people are saying that is a precursor to when he's going to begin doing all these miracle working stuff. Terrible stuff. Makes zero sense. This right here, number 4, he's performing society's equivalent of miracles and is loved by doing so. This will eventually lead him to subvert Christ's teachings. Okay, and this is the point I wanted to get to, is when we look at a lot of these, like Joe Biden, Mr. Beast, Elon Musk, you're going to find kind of the same theme, is nobody's looking at what the Bible's saying. Really, a lot of what it is people say, oh, this guy's really rich, he's really influential, he's doing all of these things for society, he's well liked, therefore he is a candidate for the Antichrist. When there are 12 criteria right here, like for instance, the Antichrist makes a 7-year peace treaty with the Jews. Where's Mr. Beast? Is Mr. Beast actively in the Middle East trying to do the 7-year peace treaty? He will wage war with God's people and conquer them for 3.5 years. Do you guys really see Mr. Beast going on a global crusade against Jews and Christians? Please, y'all, please. I want to get some comments. Give me a break for my voice. Somebody please spit some truth in these comments. Yeah, he didn't even cure blind people. He paid for the cataract surgery. So he's rich. You know what I mean? But he didn't even, it wasn't even a miracle. He also has a microchip in his hand. Mr. Beast does. I didn't see that. What about Barack Obama? We're going to get into him. Yeah, so we got Ease in here. Ease is a big King Charles guy. So once we get to King Charles, Ease, make sure to be in the chat so we can discuss, because he's going to be higher up on the list. So yeah, remembering our criteria, Mr. Beast, Joe Biden, and Elon Musk fit literally none of these, besides the fact that they're influential political. Actually, no, most of them aren't even political figures. So they wouldn't even meet that category. That is why they are in the D tier, okay? So we're just going to move on, because they're really not even worth talking about at this point. We're going to move on to Obama, okay? Now, out of all of the garbage candidates for this theory, he is the one that actually makes the most sense. So if you believed in any 3 of these, Musk, Beast, or Biden, then really you ought to think about Obama, okay? Because he actually has a couple things going for him. All right, let's look at what Obama has got going for him in terms of being the Antichrist. Obama the Arab, all right? So the theory goes like this. Obama is of Muslim Arab descent. Okay, this was the whole controversy. Remember how everybody was trying to link him back to his African, father? Like everybody was trying to kind of write off his being the president because he has African descent and he's not a citizen. Well, this goes back to the fact that he is an Arab. And so this, if it were true, would fit the fact that he could claim to be an Assyrian, according to one of our criteria. The Antichrist will rule for 42 months, and Obama had a 42-month tenure. Okay? I mean, that's at least something. That's at least something that they're attempting to put out. He is charismatic, intelligent, determined, and revolutionary. Okay, same thing as the rest. He spreads a message of unity and peace. And his name, Barack, this is a typo, is actually found in the Quran. Okay. People were essentially saying, oh, look, Barack is in the Quran, and that links him back to his Arab ancestry. So somehow that leads back to him being a Muslim. I mean, I couldn't verify it. I couldn't find anything about it. So he gets a score of 1. He gets a 1 score. He gets something. Okay, that's something that you could be proud of if you thought Obama was the Antichrist. Now, I want to quickly briefly scroll through the chat and see if anybody is an Obama believer. Because if you are, speak now or forever hold your peace. Obama is Egyptian. Okay, I mean, so what? Anybody an Obama believer in here? Obama broke marriage law between man and a woman. Okay, I'm gonna have to look into that. So I mean, probably what you're referring to, if he did in fact do that, that would actually meet the criteria where it says he will seek to change times and laws. Okay, but we got to remember, according to the Bible, when the Antichrist seeks to change times and laws, that's related to the laws of the Bible and related to the laws of the Jewish scriptures. So it's going to be a false religious system that's going to change the laws of the Bible in the future to the laws that the Antichrist wishes to impose. Okay, it's not going to be, and actually marriage laws might actually, that might actually fit within. That kind of goes back to Joe Biden. Remember Joe Biden, everybody was saying, oh, he's pushing LGBTQ agenda, so therefore he's the Antichrist. Not enough. Okay, you gotta have way more than that. So Obama gets a score of 1 in my book. Hopefully you can accept that, but I guarantee you the people who think Obama is the Antichrist will not, because it is hard to convince those type of people. So this is our tier list so far. So far, we've had no actual real candidate for the Antichrist that makes any biblical sense. Now we're going to move on to Putin. So where do I put Putin on this list? He is also another garbage candidate. Are you guys noticing a pattern? All of these presidential, religious, or not religious, actually, kind of modern conceptions of who the Antichrist is, these political leaders are all garbage candidates. Putin, in terms of I'm going to put him below Elon Musk, because Elon Musk actually has something going for him. He's going to go behind him. And actually, Mr. Beast, he's going to go behind Mr. Beast. Okay? So now let's look at what people say about Mr. Putin. Mr. Putin, the Gog man. He is the Gog man. For those who don't know, everybody believes, the modern prophecy circles believe that Gog of Magog is Russia. But what's hilarious is that nobody thinks that Gog is another term for the Antichrist, which is what this channel believes. So I can't even bring that in the picture. Everybody thinks Gog is a specific separate individual. So even if people think, oh, Putin is Gog of the land of Magog, it doesn't matter for this specific discussion. Okay. So barring that, here's what we got for Mr. Putin. Number 1, he is a messianic figure seeking to reunite the Christian and Orthodox churches. Okay. I actually have an article right here. I think I forgot to share this with you guys in the past. So a Ukrainian bishop said that Putin is the Antichrist of our current time. Okay. A Ukrainian archbishop and spokesman of the Orthodox Church of Ukraine condemned Russian President Vladimir Putin as the Antichrist of our time as Russia invades Ukraine. While Putin appears to be portraying himself as a kind of messianic figure seeking to reunite the Russian and Ukrainian Orthodox churches, which formally split in 2019, this specific rabbi or this specific kind of religious figure put him on the other side of the Christian spectrum. Putin is really not the Messiah. This is a direct quote, but really Antichrist of our current time. The spokesman of the Ukrainian Orthodox Church. You said he's the Antichrist of your time, the interviewer said. He said, yes, he is the Antichrist because everything what he does now is totally against gospel, against God's law. So let's verify this, don't we? Let's go ahead and verify this. So we look at our criteria. Putin considers himself a part of the Orthodox Church. Now, let's look at some of the things the Antichrist will do. He will honor a foreign god of war. Okay, Putin does not do that. There is no foreign god that Putin specifically honors. Even if he was honoring the God of Yahweh, he's not publicly proclaiming this invasion of Ukraine as a war god thing. You know what I mean? He is not of Assyrian descent. So right here, I want you to look at number 9. He will deny the Father and the Son. Okay, as an Orthodox Christian, they do not deny the Father and the Son. Simple as they hold to the foundational biblical principle of the Trinity. So we can just wipe that out. He will attempt to change times and laws. Not happening. His kingdom will be divided. Russia, I don't think, is a divided kingdom. I mean, maybe. A lot of people think that relates back to the Soviet Union, but if somebody can put it down in the chat how this could be divided, I couldn't figure it out. You know what I'm saying? So that's one way. He will receive a mortal wound and he will be revived. So again, meets literally none of the criteria. This is the same pattern we're going to see. This Orthodox minister who called him the Antichrist, this is what's going to happen every single time, is he's going to take his political experience, because Putin is doing things with the Orthodox churches, and he's going to use his experience and say, oh, he's trying to infiltrate my church. That means he's the Antichrist, without using the biblical patterns. So this is a warning to us in the church today. This is a warning to all of us not to use our political context within our day to impose on the scriptures, because this is how we get all of these weird, wacky theories. Okay, this is why so many people were all in a rave about Obama being the Antichrist, because whenever a new leader comes onto the stage, everybody is so quick to jump on the bandwagon. That's what everybody does. That's what happened with Trump. We're going to look at Trump in a couple minutes. And it's going to happen again with every single leader. Okay? We need to be Bereans. We need to be in the scriptures. So let's move on. But I want us to keep this in mind. All right? Let's get current with the chat. He will worship false gods. Even the devil believes. No one knows. Nobody's going to know 100% who the Antichrist is, but we have criteria according to the Bible. And as we move forward in this list, you're going to see how these candidates move up in terms of the criteria. So far, as we've seen, let's move back to here. According to what we have seen, if you say Obama, Elon Musk, Mr. Beast, Putin, or Joe Biden is the Antichrist, I have no respect for that. Okay? I respect you as a person, I love you to death because I'm a Christian. I'm supposed to love my neighbor. But unfortunately, none of these figures make any biblical sense. Okay? So let's move to my personal favorite of the night. This one is absolutely hilarious. This one is absolutely hilarious. Let me move this. We're going to talk about Andrew freaking Tate, okay? And we're actually going to put him in the C tier. We're going to put Andrew Tate in the C tier. Now, Andrew Tate is a very interesting figure, okay? For those who don't know, Andrew Tate came on the scene almost a year ago. He's been kind of on the social media scene for a while, but he came on the scene, very controversial, talking about all of these controversial opinions, and he got himself banned from Twitter. But from 2012 or 2022 to 2013, for a period of 6 months, he was the most popular searched man on the planet. And that's going to factor into this theory. So let's look at Andrew freaking Tate. The covert... I'm sorry, the covert Muslim. Oh, man. Okay, you guys ready? So, here's the theory. He was the most popular man in the world in 2022, okay? The little horn in the book of Daniel has a mouth speaking great things. And for those who have seen anything about Andrew Tate, he has a mouth speaking very, very great things. Whether you think it's great or not, it is monumental in its ability. Sorry, guys, those pauses are awkward, but I need them for my voice. He will make a very okay, sorry, let me move back. So he came on the scene. This is what happened. Then he made a very public conversion to Islam in the midst of his Twitter ban. Okay, so he actually became a Muslim. And the theory goes that since he holds this influence and sway over millions of people, millions of especially men, because he targets the masculine culture, he is leading people towards Islam. Okay, and that is Antichrist, for those who don't know, because Islam is fundamentally Antichrist in its religion. We'll get into that later. And also number 4, he will fulfill the mortal head wound after his jail sentence and run for political office, being a Muslim, and then he will gain all this support. And that is the theory for Andrew Tate. So he is called the covert Muslim. All right, he's going to go in there, get all the men of America to convert, and that's the way he's going to do it, and then he's going to run for political office. Okay, terrible theory, absolutely garbage. He gets a score of 1. Okay, he gets a score of 1, and that is because, remember, we're skipping the criteria that says he will be popular and charismatic. Why did I give him a? Oh yeah, because he is of Assyrian descent. That was why. He actually was born. His father was born in the Middle East, I believe. So he actually is of Assyrian descent. So that is the one area that we can give him a point. Now, for those who are just joining, welcome into the chat. We are ranking the top 12 Antichrist candidates. So far, we've done 6. You can go back and watch this video if you haven't seen it already. And we are using 12 criteria to determine from the Bible who is the Antichrist. Okay, this is the 12 criteria we're going to be using. We're soon going to move out of kind of the weird options, kind of the weird people, and we're going to actually move into the actual candidates towards the end of this, so stay tuned. And this leaves us to probably one of the weirdest ones, and that is Donald J. Trump. Okay, this is excuse me. This is going to be Donald J. Trump. So let's pull this up here. Here's the theory. I actually have a YouTube video for us to watch because my brother allowed me to use this video. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this video up so you guys can watch this and I can take a quick break.
The Antichrist, and it stirred up quite a conversation. And so yesterday afternoon when I got home, Louise and I were planning what shall we write for our daily rant tomorrow for HartmanReport.com. And, I said, this got a lot more attention than I thought it would. I was actually surprised that as many people wanted to weigh in on it. And so, let's put it out as an idea. Is Donald Trump the Antichrist? And you can take this one of 2 ways, right? You can either take it literally and, is he the guy described in Revelation or described elsewhere in the Bible? Is he the father of lies? Is he actually that guy? And of course, people called in yesterday with suggestions, and some folks have even added on Twitter. MAGA, for example, in Latin and multiple other languages means magic or sorcerer. His grandfather's name was Drumpf, D-R-U-M-P-F, which has 6 letters. John is Johann in German, 6 letters. So his actual name would be Donald Johann Drumpf 666, just like Ronald Wilson Reagan. He armed the Saudis for their bombing war against Yemen that now has 5 million people facing famine as the Saudis are blocking food arrivals. His family owns 666 Fifth Avenue. He fooled millions of evangelical followers of Jesus, just as the beast was supposed to have done. He put his own red hat MAGA mark on his followers' foreheads. He consorts with, quote, whores and criminals, end quote. That's kind of the biblical take, and maybe you want to add to that. But when you consider the secular take, what is the Antichrist in secular terms? It is basically the personification of evil. And just, Jesus in the Sermon on the Mount, he spoke in the plural, actually. He said, false prophets who come to you in sheep's clothing but inwardly are ravening wolves.
Okay, so that's basically it. So let's actually look at what this theory says. So when it comes to Donald Trump,
and he
thanks
said,
to you all in the chat.
how do you know them? He said, by their fruits you shall know them.
Okay, where'd it go? It's right
Trump's fruits.
Okay, so we're going to get back into this. Donald J. Trump. So looking at the theory specifically and to see what kind of score I gave him, he gets a score of 1. So let's actually go back to the tier list, okay? We're going to put him on the D tier. He's going to be behind Obama, behind Elon Musk. Okay, he's also going to be behind Mr. Beast, and I'll put him in front of Putin, okay? So far, the worst candidate is Joe Biden, and the best candidate is Andrew Tate. Surprise, surprise. And of course, I did not put, how come this is not showing up? Again, somebody said in the chat, I remember it was earlier, if somebody wants to moderate and help me with these streams, email me. I think you said email me, so go ahead and email me. It's in my about section. I need somebody to help me out, okay? Because these can go way smoother. So That's that. Now looking at the conspiracy. So what he said is MAGA is Latin, which means magic or sorcerer. Okay, we know according to the Bible, pharmakia or pharmacy, that's a big theme within the end times. It's going to be sorcery, right? So apparently this whole COVID thing was related to Donald Trump. And, the MAGA hat was actually the mark of the beast that he was putting on the foreheads of his believers. Like, you can't make this stuff up. People actually believe this. His family owns 666 Avenue. Okay, he puts a red mark on his followers on the foreheads. His grandfather's name comes out to 666. So let's quickly go back to our criteria and see why I gave him a score of 1. So looking at the actual Antichrist, okay? Does Donald Trump arise out of a 10-nation confederation? He does not, okay? He does not receive a mortal wound, okay? He's not revived. He does not blaspheme God. He has never blasphemed the God of the Bible. He is charismatic, but again, that's a wash. He will sit in the temple of God and proclaim to be God. Well, I think Donald Trump definitely has the grandiosity to do something like that. It has not happened. He's not Assyrian. He does not deny the Father and the Son. He has not changed times and laws. And you might actually say his kingdom is divided if you put MAGA believers versus everybody else. But we're going to give him a score of 1. Okay, that's what I'm going to give him. He gets put into the garbage category. Okay. So yeah, I mean, what are you guys' thoughts so far? These are really the candidates that are more funny. They're kind of more, ha, goofy. But now we're going to start moving into the actual candidates. And this is where it's going to start to get really in depth. So make sure to get your Bibles. Let's see what you guys have to say. Pavle, my brother, says, I am an Antichrist. Do not say that, bro. That's not good. We are not Antichrist. We love the Christ. We love the Messiah. He's our God. We worship him. So I love you, brother, but just be careful, okay? Everybody in this chat seems to think they know who he is, but the fact is nobody knows who the Antichrist is. Come on. Exactly, my brother. Nobody knows who it is, but as I've said previously, the Bible gives us specific criteria, and we can actually rank the candidates that we have according to what the Bible says. And so the most well-known candidate, not the most well-known, but the most well-established candidate is going to be at the end of this live stream, and you're going to see why, according to the Bible, I have put him as the greatest. Okay? So anyway, back to it, okay? Now we're going to look at the next candidate, and this is going to be the Yanuka. Very, very interesting. This is the Yanuka, who, for those who don't know, I'm going to put up a video. He is the newest kind of Jewish kind of revolutionary guy. He's really revolutionary. All the messiahs and all of the rabbis are kind of giving praise to him. He apparently memorized the Torah, like by the time he was age of like he was in his teens. So he's kind of a big deal in Israel right now. So we're actually going to put him in the B tier. He is a B tier candidate. Now, I want to clarify something real quick. Anything below A tier is unacceptable. Okay, that is unacceptable. If you go to, you take a test and somebody asks you, who's the Antichrist, and you score below a 7 on the list, I believe that would be a 5 because that would be an F. So you scored an F. That is unacceptable. Okay, if you are less than 5 on the scale, you do not get to be an Antichrist candidate. So the Yanuka, let's see where I put him, but if he is less than 5, he is not a solid candidate. Okay, let's see where I put the Yanuka. Okay, we're gonna do Charles next. The Yanuka, okay, I put him as a score of 4, so he is still not even in the mentions. So here's one of the areas. His grandfather was born in Syria. Okay, he has a Syrian connection to the Middle East. He actually was raised in Spain, so a lot of people call him the Spaniard, but he has a Syrian connection. That's one point. He holds the highest respect of the Jewish authority. He is the greatest candidate for a false Jewish Messiah coming out of Israel currently. And as a practicing Jew, he fundamentally denies Jesus Christ through the Father and the Son. So looking at the criteria, he actually is starting to ramp up a bit, because we see right here, number 9, he will deny the Father and the Son. If he is indeed the Antichrist, he will deny Jesus Christ. Okay, that is the truth. He's of Assyrian descent. In terms of honoring a foreign god, we don't know that yet. You know what I mean? But in terms of honoring a foreign god, he honors Yahweh. So it's not a foreign outsider. So that doesn't make any sense. He's going to sit in the temple of God and proclaim himself to be Yahweh. Doesn't make any sense to me. He's going to make a 7-year peace treaty with the Jews. Not there yet. The rest of these really doesn't make any sense. Okay. So we have him at a score of 4. That is where we're going to put the Yanuka. He is a B-list candidate. Do we have any questions about the Yanuka? Dusty says the Yanuka is sus. He is very sus. Okay, whenever a new kind of Jewish revolutionary guy comes in, that is always very sus. If I was to put him in anything, I would actually put him as more suspect as the false prophet. That's what I would put him as. Because, you know, the false prophet is the one that leads people into the subjugation of the Antichrist. And if he was to hold sway over the Jewish people like he already does today, and within 5 years he rises up, he could very much, you know, be the false prophet to the Jews. Whether that's going to happen, we'll have to see. But again, according to the biblical criteria, he doesn't really mean a whole lot. Okay. His religion, the Jewish religion, is anti-Christic in nature. So that's kind of suspect. But yeah. Jericho, bro, I wanted to share, according to your previous videos, that I thought Jesus came from Isaac to okay, so email me that, brother, or join Discord. I want to stay on topic on this one. No other person has all the symbols from the Bible attached to him, like Charles. Charles is next. That's the one that came to mind, but wasn't sure about Antichrist. I'm glad he's on the list at least, because yeah, awesome. So yeah, he's sus. So yeah, he's on the list. You know what I'm saying? He's definitely a suspect, but he is below 4. And like I said, if you are below 4, there are 12 criteria that you have to meet. This is Bible prophecy. You have to meet this. Okay? So he's still failing really, really hard on the list. This is the Yanuka. Okay? That could change in the future. We'll keep our eyes on him, especially on this channel. But as of right now, he is not a good candidate. This is our list so far. Okay? Let's move on to our next candidate, and that is King Charles. Who was ready for the comment storm I am about to put in this chat for King Charles? He is the newest, most suspected Antichrist candidate. Where do I put King Charles on the map? Let's actually wait in a second before I put him up. Let's get this back up. Where did I actually put him? Because I forgot. I put a score to all of them, so I remember. He gets a score of 2. Y'all are so gonna be so mad. This is hilarious. Hold on, I want to see somebody get mad. Somebody get mad in the comments. She said why. I'm sorry, guys. Okay, but this is okay. So this is my honest opinion. I'm sorry, I'm losing my mind. King Charles, why is he not a good Antichrist candidate? Now, here is the theory. Okay, he just became the king of England. Okay, and so a lot of this goes back to the idea that the Antichrist comes from the revived Roman Empire. And so whenever a new leader comes out of the European Union or Brexit or any of these European countries, they are very suspect. Now, he is in a position to lead 10 European nations that put down 3 empires. Okay, in my research, he put down Australia. He put down 3 other nations within the European Union that apparently, he put down in coming up to power. Okay, this was really recent. Now, the reason why I'm not including this, and this is going to go to number 2, where the idea is his empire encompasses the lion, the bear, and the leopard. Okay, so you remember in Daniel how there's the lion, the leopard, and the bear empire, and this is the foundational empire that the Antichrist is going to come from. It's the conglomerate, right? He's the lion, leopard, and bear. And so the theory goes that King Charles, the leopard represents Germany, the bear represents Russia, and the lion represents Britain. Okay, and you're going to get a million different variations of this. Not everybody believes the same thing. Okay, but that's essentially kind of the main idea. And his kingdom will be divided according to Brexit. So those are the 3 main things. There's a couple other things, like he will lead the World Economic Forum. He's going to do all these economic things. So let's compare this to the Bible. Now, the reason I didn't put the fact that his position with the 10 European nations, number 1 and number 2, as even scoring on the list is because the Bible is clear about the 3 kingdoms. Okay, and they are not European. Here is what the Bible says. Okay, we're not going to look at pop culture. We're going to look at the Bible. Now let's look at the horns of the beast. So the 10 horns are mentioned as 10 kings that arise out of one of the heads of the beast. Okay, this is according to Daniel 7. A little horn, a little king, which is the Antichrist, arises amidst these 10 kings, and 3 of the other kings are put down. So already, okay, that makes sense. Charles did this, right? So of course he must be the new Antichrist. Well, the 3 nations that are put down by the little horn are not European nations. They're just not according to the Bible. In Daniel 11, 35 and 37, I've said this millions of times, these 3 nations are Cush, Egypt, and Libya. And it specifically tracks when the little horn arises from the 4 horns that are divided, he comes in and puts down Libya, Egypt, and Cush. Okay? So that is why I didn't even score that on the list. We go back to our 12 criteria where it says he arises from a 10-nation confederation. His empire is described as a combination of the 3 empires. That is not biblical. When you say, oh, he's going to rise up from the European Union, that's not a biblical take. That's not what Daniel says. When it says right here, he will put down 3 kings, that's not what Daniel says. Now, moving on to the lion, leopard, and bear. Comment down below if you're getting information from this. Let me get a drink. We're going to go into the lion, leopard, bear. Oh my gosh. Okay. So the first 3 beasts in Daniel's vision are described as a lion with eagle's wings, a bear with 3 ribs in its mouth, and a 4-headed, 4-winged leopard. Okay. Now, many people attempt to use modern nations as representations of these beasts. This is what those who believe in King Charles try to tell you. They say, oh, the Russian flag, that is symbolic of the bear, right? The leopard, the Germany, the tanks, like one of the weird theories is that the German tanks are called Panzers, which is from panther, which somehow makes them a leopard. And it's just, guys, it's not biblical. It is, again, going back to remember what that Orthodox leader did. He used his own political circumstances to formulate his theory. He's not using the Bible. When we look at the Bible, the 4 beasts of Daniel 7 are identical to the image of Daniel 2. What is the image of Daniel 2? It is the head of gold, the arms of silver, the belly of bronze, and the legs of iron. Now, the head of gold, according to Daniel, is specifically mentioned as the king of Babylon. It says within Daniel 2, I think it's 38, you are the head of gold. You, King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon. So Babylon is named. Okay, it's not, the lion with eagle's wings is not Britain. Okay, it is Babylon. The chest and arms of silver. I actually had the verse right here. Let's actually look at the verse because I know people are going to fight me hard on this. So we're actually going to go directly to the Bible. Okay. It's funny. I had Neuralink up here. I should have went here. So we go to Daniel 2. Okay. So he sees the vision. Stay with me, y'all. He sees the vision of the 4, the gold. So after you, okay, so it says, Your Majesty, you are the King of Kings. The God of heaven has given you dominion and power and mighty and glory. This is verse 36. In your hands he has placed all mankind and the beasts of the field and the birds in the sky. Wherever they live, he has made you ruler over them all. You are the head of gold. After you, another kingdom will arise, inferior to you. So the second kingdom, which is going to be the bear, is the kingdom that came after the Babylonian, which was the Medo-Persian. Next, the third kingdom. That is one of bronze who will rule over the whole earth. That was the kingdom of Alexander the Great. Then there will be a 4th kingdom, strong as iron. Now, interestingly enough, it does not say after the 3rd kingdom, this 4th kingdom will come. This will come back later. So we see a sequence of Babylon, Medo-Persia, Greece. Then there's a mysterious 4th kingdom. So therefore, when people say that King Charles has just risen up and his empire is a conglomerate of the beast in Daniel 7, it is absolute bogus. It's bogus. It's hogwash. I mean that with all love and respect, but we are evaluating the Antichrist on what the Bible says, not what popular conspiracy theories have to say. So, somebody got $5 in the chat. Let's go back, see what he has to say. When Revelation 13 says that the 10 horns have 10 crowns, the Greek translation is turbans. Interesting. We're going to get into that. So that is why King Charles is not a very good candidate, unfortunately. Ease, let's see what you have to say. Ease, by the way, is the man who's been in my chats. I love him, but he's been in my chats talking about how King Charles is the Antichrist. He disagrees with who I think with. So he's actually the one I'm really talking to in this one. He says the Antichrist has control of all the world, whether people can buy or sell. That is not true. That is not true. I want you guys to follow me on this. The false prophet is the one that controls the entire global, or not. Yeah, so controls the economy. It is the false prophet that issues the mark of the beast, not the Antichrist. This idea of the one world order it's bogus. Okay, but we're gonna. I just showed you guys the Bible. We're gonna get into that a little bit later. Charles has been saying this for years. Again, we are evaluating the Antichrist based on 12 fundamental biblical principles. Let's look at this. He arises from a 10-nation confederation. We saw in the Bible that is in the Middle East, because we saw the three horns are Egypt, Cush, and Sudan. His empire is described as a combination of three empires described as Babylon, the lion, the leopard as a Greece, and the bear as Medo-Persia. That has nothing to do with King Charles. That has absolutely nothing to do. He has not received a mortal head wound. He has not blasphemed God and his dwelling place. I haven't heard anything about King Charles having anything to do with Israel. Okay. I don't see him waging war with God's people. Okay. To me, King Charles isn't even charismatic. Like even with the whole Meghan Markle debacle, I just don't see him being charismatic. Sits in the temple of God, honors a foreign God. He's not of Assyrian descent. He is utterly failing the test. He is utterly failing the test. And I hope you guys see this. I really hope you do. Because, man, I was one of those guys that would just hop on every single theory. We're going to get into the Pope, and I was huge on the Pope being the Antichrist because he was the first theory that I saw. You know what I mean? But when I started getting into the Bible, when I started reading Ezekiel, when I started reading Jeremiah, I feel like the Holy Spirit's talking to you guys through me right now. This is serious stuff. This is very serious. God put the Antichrist in the Bible so that we can know who he is. God literally made 25% of the Bible prophetic. 25% of the entire Bible is about the last days. We need to know what's going to take place. King Charles is not the Antichrist. Okay, I have so much passion for this. I hope you guys see that. I'm not being angry or mean. I'm saying this out of love. I really am saying this out of love because I love you guys. And I really hope that you guys are not going to be deceived when the actual Antichrist, who fulfills the vast majority of this list at the end of this video, will come, and everybody still thinks King Charles is the Antichrist. All right, I'm done. I'm done preaching. What are some comments? Give me 1 sec, guys. Stay in the chat. Give me 1 sec. Oh, my goodness. Okay. Charles and Queen Elizabeth have no lineage to Jesus, King David. It's a myth. Supposedly T-Tony was the link, but again, no hardcore evidence. I agree with you. Justice says, thank you for looking to the Bible for help. That's what we got to do, brother. The word interprets itself. The word is very, very clear. Ease, where you at, my brother? He is returning to Israel. I don't see it, man. I'm sorry. So again, I hope, before we move on, I hope you understand that when you look at this list, King Charles does not fit the vast majority of this at all whatsoever. Making a 7-year peace treaty, his kingdom being divided. Maybe you could say that with Brexit. I think that's why I gave him 1 point, a couple points. But man, there's just nothing there. There really just is nothing there. Okay, so we're going to get off King Charles and we're going to move to our next candidate. We're going to put King Charles we'll put him behind Andrew Tate. Okay, we'll give him some credit. We'll put him behind Andrew Tate. All right, that's what we'll do. Now, we are at the last 3 candidates for the Antichrist. This is where we're going to start getting into more heavy Bible study, because we need to actually get into Bible study to see what everybody's saying about these 3 specific individuals. Okay, excuse my voice, guys. It might be kind of cracky here. We're going to go into Emperor Nero. Okay, this is where we start getting acceptable. So Emperor Nero, where do I put him on the Antichrist list? He is B tier above the Yanuka. Okay, Emperor Nero is probably one of the most responsible and one of the most long-standing Antichrist contenders there has ever been in the history of the church. Okay, we're going to look at why Emperor Nero specifically has all of these, meets some of this criteria. But in terms of a score, he actually gets a score of 5. So he's still failing the test. Okay, he's still failing. He's still unacceptable, but he gets a really high score compared to most of these leaders. Here's what's going on with Nero. Okay, now mind you, we're going to get into preterism. This is the idea that the vast majority of Bible prophecy has already been fulfilled. This is where the video might get confusing for some, but we're doing Bible study. This is where it's the idea that at the fall of Jerusalem in 70 AD, that was when Jesus Christ returned a second time. That's preterism, which essentially says all of Revelation has already been fulfilled. Then there's partial preterism that says, oh, a lot of the prophecies of Revelation have already been fulfilled, but Jesus Christ hasn't returned physically on the earth yet. Nero falls into the preterist and the partial preterist positions. Okay, so here's the theory. Nero persecuted Christians for a period of 42 months. That is verified. We know for a fact that he actually did that. He put them to death, to the stake, burned them alive. He persecuted them for 42 months. Nero proclaimed to be God and demanded worship. He also, this is an interesting note, he proclaimed himself as the god Apollo. Okay, he was the Apollyon figure, and he also would worship his god Apollo, right? But he actually saw himself as Apollo. So it gets kind of confusing, but you could actually say that he honored a foreign god while also proclaiming to be God. Okay. So that's something to notice. 666 actually translates to Kaiser Neron or Kaiser Nero. Also, mother killer. That's what 666 comes out to. Also, there are some early manuscripts within the Greek that actually put 616. That's an interesting point. 616 actually is the Greek way. So there's the Hebrew way of taking the gematria, which the gematria is taking Hebrew words, turning them into letters. So you take the Hebrew of 666, that comes out to Kaiser Neron, right? One way of saying Kaiser Neron. Then you take the Greek 666. The Greek gematria also comes out sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. 616 comes out to Kaiser Neron. Okay, that's what that is. So the theory goes that the apostles originally received it in Hebrew and they wrote it down in Hebrew, but they wanted their disciples because a lot of their disciples spoke Greek and wrote in Greek. So they put 616 so that their Greek audiences would understand what the Hebrew was saying, which both of them point to Nero. So this is actually really, really strong evidence, like probably the strongest evidence for 666, because you have multiple lines of reasoning saying, look, this is Nero. Take a breath. Okay. And then also there's the idea that, the 10 kings, the 5 have fallen are Julius Augustus, Tiberius, Caligula, Claudius. The one that is, according to Revelation, is Nero, and the 2 are yet to come. These are future Roman leaders. So far, pretty strong evidence. Okay. If this is the case, if Nero is in fact the Antichrist, that means the vast majority of Bible prophecy was fulfilled in 70 AD. Okay, if he was the Antichrist, the persecution of Christians has already been fulfilled. Okay, let's look back at our criteria. Let's see what he means. So, mind you, again, this would all have to mean Bible prophecy was already fulfilled. He arises from 10 nations. This could be theoretically stemmed to be, he arises from 10 kings in the Roman kind of governance. His empire is described as a combination of 3 empires, described as a lion, leopard, and bear. This, again, moving back to what we said, is against him because the Roman Empire did not encompass the Babylonian, Medo-Persian, and Greek Empire. Okay, I'm gonna show you the map a little bit later, but this is a point against him. He will receive a mortal head wound. Now, Nero, actually, the way that he died was he died by suicide. So he killed himself, cut his throat. So that's a head wound, but he hasn't been revived. Many people are saying, he's going to come through a portal in CERN, in the next coming years when they break the abyss open. And he's going to come through the portal as a demon Nero, and he's going to somehow submit the world to him. That's bogus. That's ridiculous. Terrible, terrible pop culture ideas. He does not meet the criteria of a mortal wound. He will blaspheme God and his dwelling place. You could technically say that Nero did this. However, he did not specifically blaspheme he did not blaspheme Israel. He wasn't the one that came against Israel. He didn't set himself up in the temple. That was Titus. Okay, but Titus, that's a whole nother discussion. He did wage war on God's people for 3.5 years, times and half a time. He did do that. Okay, he was a charismatic political military leader. He did not sit in the temple of God and proclaim to be God. So that's a point against him. He did not do that. That Nero never did that. That's a popular misconception. He fulfills number 7. He is not of Assyrian descent. So you guys can see, while he does have some really good theories going for him, he does have some really big drawbacks. And this is one of the popular theories that's going about today, that Nero was the Antichrist, and it's all been fulfilled. Okay. He will deny the Father and the Son, but so I mean, he essentially denied Christ, so that makes sense. He attempted to change times and laws. I couldn't find anything saying that he tried to change Jewish and biblical laws, okay, because the laws of the Roman state were already in effect. So I didn't see any specific mention of him changing the times and the laws. So that's kind of a wash. His kingdom will be divided. I mean, he was leading the Roman Empire at the time, which was the greatest unified force in the world. So I don't think that's really anything that could be said. Half Tactical says, what's up? What's up, Half Tactical? Welcome in. He's one of my members. Love you, bro. And he makes a 7-year peace treaty with the Jews. He did not make a 7-year peace treaty with the Jews. So while Emperor Nero is an interesting candidate, he is not a very good candidate. Unfortunately, he just is not. So we're going to put Emperor Nero, when it comes to this list, above the Yanuka, because he has some really good points, but he is still in the B tier, which is unacceptable. Now, I want us to kind of stay on this point for a minute, because a lot of people are saying, wait a minute, but he fulfilled all of these crazy things, like his, 666, Kaiser Neron, or, Kaiser Nero. So let's actually look at what the Bible's saying. When we look at, and real quick, this is the lion, leopard, bear map. This is what the kingdom of the Antichrist has to look like. Okay, is this up for you guys? I'm sorry, y'all. Again, somebody please moderate me. I desperately need somebody to moderate me. This is the lion, leopard, bear map, okay? You have to fulfill this map in order to be the Antichrist. Do you see how King Charles does not fulfill this map? Do you also see how Kaiser Neron did not fulfill this map? Let's look at the Roman Empire. Roman Empire under Nero. Let me get some images up. This was the Roman Empire under Nero, okay? Gosh, I keep forgetting to put this up. Okay, so it's a big, big empire, but it's really encompassing the West. It's really, really encompassing the West. So it gets into North Africa a bit when you look towards the east. It gets into Saudi Arabia a little bit, gets into Turkey, but it does not fundamentally get into Iran or India. This is what the map has to do. This map is really, really far east, way into India. That's the lion, the leopard, and the bear. That is the biblical requirement of the Antichrist empire. And unfortunately, Rome or the empire of King Charles does not meet that description. Okay? So I hope you guys see that. Also moving forward on the list. Excuse me, guys. So looking at, here are some problems with Nero. Okay? We know according to the Bible that the Antichrist is going to be killed at the day of the Lord. Now, this is important because, again, remember I've said, many people are saying that Nero fulfilled all of Bible prophecy. The day of the Lord has already come. Okay, there's actually a warning in 2 Thessalonians where Paul says, look, to the extent that somebody says the day of the Lord has already come, do not believe them. Okay, because we will be caught up to meet Christ in the air. Every eye will see him. That has not happened. Okay, when we look at Zechariah 14, the verse Zechariah 14, I won't pull it up, but it literally says, on that day, the Lord will go out to fight the surrounding nations, and his feet will touch the Mount of Olives. His feet will touch the Mount of Olives, and it will cleave the Mount of Olives, and there will be a massive earthquake, and all the Israelites will flee in the valley of Uzziah, as in the king of Uzziah. Right? So there was not a massive earthquake chamber that happened in the midst of Israel, and Christ did not physically, literally step foot on ground. So this is why preterism and partial preterism absolutely cannot be true. This is why Nero is a bad candidate. Okay, he has not been revived. He's not of Assyrian descent. Did not make a 7-year peace treaty. We're beating a dead horse. Let's get some comments. Okay, did I spit truth, or is somebody out there saying, "Oh, this guy's a whack job"? What do you guys think? Because we're gonna move on to the last two candidates. Do you guys think that? What do you guys think of the list so far? What do you guys think of my list? Okay, I'm gonna pull it up right here. Okay, so Half Tactical says no. The reason you say no, brother, looks like you're talking to somebody. Hit that like button, baby. Tyler's my like button guy. He's always in here telling people to spam that like button. I appreciate that, man. That helps. The Little Horn Empire spread towards Jerusalem after it already spread eastward, according to the Bible, so it can't be anything from the west. It's not Charles. Amen. Happy Pappy says stupid list. So again, we'll give you a minute to respond, my brother. Where on the list have I gone wrong? I'm live. We're live in the chat. We're gonna do this with love and respect. Show me in the chat where on my list I was wrong, and we will evaluate it according to what the Bible has to say. Okay, we have our 12 criteria here. So either my criteria is wrong or my interpretation is wrong. And that's what's important. So one on your list is correct. This is the best list. Thank you, Disney. I'm waiting for my guy to respond so we can get back to it. The Jews are awaiting a man that they were not expecting from heaven. I agree with Jericho. The Antichrist has entered onto the stage yet. Has not entered on the stage. The criteria for the list is good. Amen. Your list is correct based off of your knowledge of interpretation. Yeah, I'm going to need to get somebody to come on and debate me about King Charles, because I've already debated somebody who believed in the Roman Antichrist theory. Go ahead and check that video out, because a lot of the disagreement is going to come in. Oh, is it a Middle Eastern empire or is it a Roman empire? That's where the disagreement is going to come in. And it's clear as day that the surrounding nations, it's going to be Middle Eastern in its effect. You know what I mean? So anyway, dude, you were spot on, brother. Keep teaching. All right, so the last two candidates. Who's ready? Who is ready? All right, I'm ready to go. The last two candidates. Whoa, we got somebody donating some money up in here. Hold on, guys. Ashton says, John wouldn't have used gematria. It's witchcraft. Take a look at the original Greek. It's clearly not Greek letters for 666. Would love to discuss this with you. Also, when John says, consider the number of his name, the 99 names. Okay. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. You know, gematria is kind of a Kabbalistic thing. So I don't think like the practicing Orthodox Jews would have really used that. But I'd love to chat with you, man. That's great. I appreciate you supporting the channel in that way. Hopefully I was able to get you on. It's Obama. He's the Antichrist. Obama is one of the worst candidates, bro. He is so bad. He is so bad. He's literally one of the worst. He doesn't fulfill any of the criteria. Where in the Bible does Obama honor a foreign god? Where in the Bible, where in real life does he deny Jesus Christ? Where is his kingdom divided? Where does he make a 7-year peace treaty? Where does he blaspheme God? Where, guys, I'm looking for evidence. We are looking for evidence. Okay, please. I would like evidence. Okay, so back to it. The last two candidates. The Pope. Okay, this is one of the biggest candidates for the Antichrist, especially within the Seventh-day Adventist movements, especially within all of these. You know, actually, this was the man I thought was going to be the Antichrist before I became what I became. Before this channel became what it became. I was a Seventh-day Adventist that believed in the theories of Ellen G. White. Okay, go ahead and check out Ellen G. White, what she has to say. She's a false prophet. She was given a false vision about the Pope. And many of the reformers, including Martin Luther, including all of the early reformers of the church, believed that the Catholic Church and the Pope was the Antichrist. This is, again, connecting back to the idea that the Antichrist comes out of a revived Roman Empire. So looking at the Pope, he is going to be in front of Nero and in front of the Yanuka. He's going to be the best of the garbage candidates. So far, the Pope is a 5.5 on the scale. Okay, he is a 5.5. Right here. Okay, so he barely gets over the failing mark. Okay, remember, if you fail a test, if you get a 5, you fail. Okay, he's not even a D. Let me get a drink. So here's the theory. The theory basically goes something like this: the Catholic Church is the beast system. The Pope is the man, the little horn of the beast system, of this false mystery Babylon religion that will deceive the world in the last days. Rome, according to this theory, sits on 7 hills. The Catholic Church, here's where it gets kind of funky, but you guys need to listen to this. Many people believe this. The Catholic Church persecuted Christians for 1,260 years. This is called the day-to-year principle. Okay? So do you remember in the Bible where it says the Antichrist will rule for 3.5 years? There, it's connected to 1,260 days. The angel says, look, the Antichrist is going to happen for 1,260 days. 1,260 days comes out to 3.5 years, 42 months. Now, what these people do when they say the Catholic Church is the Pope, or the Catholic Church is the beast system, they say that, oh, the 1,260 days, that's actually talking about years. So 1,260 years. They're using a day to a year principle because according to Paul, a day is as of a 1,000 years to the Lord, as is a day, or whatever it's called. So here's what it looks like. After the 10 nation, or after Rome fell, okay, moving forward a bit, Rome fell into 10 essential nations. They fell into the 10 Germanic tribes, known as the Vandals, the Visigoths, the Heruli, the Ostrogoths, the Lombards. These 10 tribes eventually became what is known today as France. The Visigoths became Spain. The Franks became the French. The Anglo-Saxons became the Brits. So they believe the image of Daniel 2, when it talks about the iron legs being Rome, the fundamental division of the empire is, and the 10 kings are going to be these 10 nations. Okay, that's what they say. And the iron and the clay, the feet, the 10 nations, are going to be the last days divided empire of this region. That's why when many people talk about King Charles, they say, oh, this is the fundamental understanding of Daniel that they come to, because they say, oh, the 4th kingdom was the iron legs, and the 10 toes are the clay and the iron not mixing. So the Eastern and the Western Roman empires not mixing. Okay. This again is something I used to believe. That's why I feel very comfortable talking about it, because I used to be heavily invested into this theory. So yeah, there's the 10 nations. And then from that 10 nation split, the papacy from the Ostrogoths, from one of the nations, the little horn, arose in 538. And for 1,260 years, they held papal supremacy over Europe, over the world, until the papacy was officially abolished in 1798. This was the French Revolution, for those who don't know. The French Revolution was when the last pope was actually excommunicated, and I believe he was flogged. I don't remember if he was killed, but the papacy was taken out of power. So that's the idea, again, that the end times, most of it's already been fulfilled. It's these weird theories that... Can you guys still see me? Am I still here? Somebody comment I'm still here. Can somebody comment if I'm still here? Something's wrong with my internet. Okay, we're still here. Good. Sorry, guys. Okay. So that's the time times half a time prophecy. So in 1738, it was abolished. Now the Catholic Church was reestablished. I believe it was in the past 100 years. So that's the fatal head wound being revived to them. Okay, so then we move back to the actual theory. So Rome sits on 7 hills. They persecuted the Christians for 1,260 years. And so they say, oh, this apostate religion, the papacy, who changed the law of God. They changed the, what they did is they changed the Sabbath, the Saturday worship, into Sunday. Okay. That was them changing the fundamental law of the Bible. They implemented all of these weird things like the Mass. They implemented, just basically all of the, indulgences where you could literally pay for your sins to be forgiven. So that's them changing the times and the laws. The Pope is literally called the Vicar of Christ, which literally means in place of Christ. Also, and many people actually call him Holy Father. So that's him blaspheming the name of God, according to this view. And yeah, I mean, that's basically what it is. If you look at it from the top down, it looks like a pretty solid theory. You know what I mean? It looks like they're talking about a lot of really good things when we compare it to our fundamental list. According to them, they rise out of the 10 nations of the Roman Empire that fell. They completely missed the lion, leopard, and bear, because in order to make this work, you have to use nations that are not mentioned in the Bible. This is why when we came back to King Charles, everybody has to say that Germany is the leopard. Everybody has to say that the bear is Russia, because you're not using the Bible to interpret the Bible. You're using modern day flags. I mean, like, think about it. You're just using flags, nation symbols. It's kind of ridiculous if you really think about it. They will receive a mortal head wound. So the Catholic Church received a wound in 1978 during the French Revolution, and now they have been reinstated and they're growing in power over the world. That's the theory. They will wage war on God's people and conquer them for 3.5 years. Again, that's the 1,260 days, 1,260 years that they persecuted the remnant, that they call them, of the real Christians who didn't want to obey the Saturday or the Sunday Sabbath. They wanted to obey the original Saturday Sabbath. The Pope is a charismatic leader. He's never sat in the temple of Yahweh. He's never sat in Israel's temple. However, people will say, oh, but he's made his own temple in Rome, the city that sits on 7 hills. But remember, within Revelation, the 7 hills are 7 kings. They're not 7 hills of a city. They are 7 historical kings. So the fact that Rome sits on 7 hills means absolutely nothing according to the Bible. Okay. He honors a foreign god of war. He does not. Okay, he is not of Assyrian descent. Okay, according to Micah 5:5, you have to be Assyrian. He does not deny the Father and the Son. This is very important. Whenever I debate somebody on the Pope, this is what convinced me out of this theory. The Catholic Church does not deny the foundational aspect of Jesus Christ dying for your sins and being a substitution for your sins, and they do not deny the Trinity. Okay, guys, you need to understand this. I believe this is the Holy Spirit talking. I don't know if it's me. Pray as I'm saying this. The Antichrist spirit will deny the Father and the Son. He will deny Jesus Christ ever having died for your sins. He will deny Jesus Christ ever being the Son of God. That is the spirit of the Antichrist, according to 1 John. That is not what King Charles is doing. That is not what the Pope is doing. What people who think this way are not understanding the gravity of what is about to take place on this planet. And you're going to understand the gravity once I show you the final candidate who meets all of these criteria. Okay? Moving back to the Pope. Shoot, my bad, guys. Hold on one sec. Moving back to the Pope. Okay. Yeah, so that's essentially it. Okay. So he gets a 5.5. There's a lot of areas that he misses, like the Assyrian descendantry, all of these other areas. Still a bad candidate. Now, in my research, and I'm not being biased because I did a ton of research, for literally 3 years. I combed the Bibles, I combed books. There were so many problems with all of these different theories. There was only one candidate that I believe fits these criteria that I have given according to the Bible the best way. And that is the Mahdi. That is Islam's awaited savior. We're going to put him in the A tier, which I believe is the only acceptable tier, because remember, if you get below a 5, you fail. You fail as an Antichrist candidate. The Mahdi, when we look at what he is going to do in terms of Islam, he is going to fulfill so many of these issues. Now, this candidate also has many issues, but you will notice that all of these candidates had terrible issues. The Pope, King Charles, all of them have horrible issues that make no sense. The Mahdi is the only one that fits things together. So let's look at what the Mahdi is going to do. He is a direct Assyrian descent. He is directly going to come from the Assyrian Empire. Okay, he is going to come from anywhere within Iran. There's traditions of him coming from Turkey. There's traditions of him coming from Pakistan, Khorasan. He is going to come from the former Assyrian Empire. There was a tradition within Islam that the Mahdi will make a 7-year peace treaty with the Romans. The Romans within Islam means the West. So to the Islamic mind, when they say the Romans in the Quran, they're talking about the West. The Antichrist, when he makes his 7-year peace treaty, is going to make a peace treaty with many. He's going to make a peace treaty with not just the Jews, with many. That's what the literal verse says. So the idea of the peace treaty is the kingdom of the Antichrist is going to make a treaty with the West and the Jews that they may feel safe from his empire that is now coming up into the world stage. So he is the only candidate on this list who makes any sense of the 7-year peace treaty, because there is literally a quote in the Quran and in the Hadiths talking about how he will make a 7-year peace treaty. Okay, he's of Assyrian descent. In terms of the 10 nations, the Mahdi is said to revive the Islamic Caliphate, which dominated the regions of the lion, the leopard, and the bear. This caliphate is the only viable option of the lion, leopard, and bear empires. The lion, Babylon, Medo-Persia, the bear, Greece, the leopard. The Islamic Caliphate totally crushed and devoured these regions. Okay, this is the region of the Islamic Caliphate. It's kind of a hard map to notice, but it's the entire region that we saw right here, guys. Sorry, it's kind of annoying to flip through all this, of the lion, leopard, and bear map. That is the map that essentially he's going to rule. Okay, very, very strong evidence. He's going to revive this new empire that the Bible has been telling us about this entire time. The Mahdi is said to invade Jerusalem, conquer it, and declare it as the capital of Islam. The Bible says the Antichrist is going to go into he's going to desecrate the temple fortress. He's going to set up an image, the abomination of desolation. He's going to proclaim to be God, and he's going to honor his foreign god of war. Okay, we're going to get into the only objection to this, which is how could the Mahdi claim to be God? We'll get into that after. Okay, that's a little bit of a weakness, but so far we're seeing his strengths. So there is literally a tradition where he will conquer Jerusalem, and he's going to proclaim it as the capital of the Ummah. The Ummah is the Muslim world. The Muslim world currently consists of 1.8 billion people. Okay, it is the second largest people group that has ever existed on the face of this planet. That is what this man is going to control the moment he steps onto the world stage. Okay, the Mahdi, he will deny the Father and the Son. His religion, Islam, is the single greatest anti-Christic religion that has ever existed. Their religion claims that they are the true religion of God the Father. They are the true religion of the Abrahamic God. And the way that you get to know God is by performing works. It is works. It is you perform works and you obey the 5 pillars. You submit the Shahada. You claim that Muhammad was the only messenger, and you get to heaven. And the Bible says the only way to get to God is through Jesus Christ, through his death and sacrifice. So it is the ultimate inversion, the ultimate anti-Christ religion, their own kingdom on the earth under the kingdom of Islam. And this man, the Mahdi, the 12th and final caliph, will be the one that ushers in the new Islamic world order. Is anybody listening to me? Okay? King Charles, the Pope, do not compare in terms of the antichrist nature of this religion. I want you guys to hear me on this. King Charles is not going to be the one that deceives the world into taking the mark of the beast, into obeying the dragon, right, who has been trying to deceive the world away from Jesus Christ. Okay? The Mahdi is going to be the one who's going to do this, according to the idea. He is going to be the caliph. He's going to lead people into the service of Allah, the foreign god. We're going to get into that. He will attempt to subject the world to Sharia Islamic law. What is Sharia law? It is essentially laws under the Islamic religion. You know, women are supposed to wear headscarves. They're supposed to do all these different things. He will change the laws of the Bible and issue in these new Islamic laws under the new revelation of Muhammad. That is what this man is going to do. He will change the global prayer and worship from Sunday to Friday. That is when Muslims go to their mosques and they worship their God, is on Friday. They have changed it from the biblical pattern of Saturday to Friday. That is essentially what the Mahdi is going to do. Strong evidence. The Islamic kingdom that he rules from is fundamentally divided into Sunni and Shia Muslims. Remember, the kingdom of the Antichrist is going to be divided, the iron and the clay. This is not talking about East and Western Rome. This is talking about a fundamental division of the people groups within the kingdom of the Antichrist. Okay, Sunnis are the conservatives. Shias are the radicals. You know, Shias are the ones that are trying to get the Islamic State. They're trying to bring the Mahdi. They're trying to subdue the world under Islam. That is the fundamental division the Bible has been telling us about this entire time. And there are traditions. This is the scary part. Are you ready? Let me get a drink. Man, I'm preaching tonight, y'all. There are traditions of Islam. Okay, my heart is really heavy when I say this. There are traditions within Islam that directly have the leaders, including the Islamic Jesus and the Mahdi, the Caliph, marching on Jerusalem, attacking the Jewish people, desecrating Jerusalem, abolishing Christianity throughout the world. That's going to be the role of the Islamic Jesus, is to abolish Christianity in the world. He will break the cross. He will, what's the term? He will kill the swine. Okay, I'm under the impression that the swine is a term referencing the Jewish people. They are called within the religion of Islam pigs and dogs. The Islamic religion has had a hatred for the Jewish people for a long time. The Islamic religion wants the throne of David. Listen to me here. For 1,500 years, Satan has been encircling the throne of David for thousands of years. All around Jerusalem are Muslim majority nations that at any moment when this man arrives, he will unite to march on Jerusalem, to try to destroy, to try to wipe out the Jewish people. Why does Gog invade Jerusalem? Because he wants them dead. Satan wants the Jews and the Christians dead. That is the Antichrist. Okay? That is the Antichrist. So he gets a score of 9. Okay? That I'm sorry, guys. I get real passionate about this because for those of you who have been in here from the beginning, okay, you have seen how we have had 12 fundamental core principles of who the Antichrist is going to be. Okay? All of these other candidates that I have shown you on this map, okay, let me get this up for you. Do not make the highest rated candidate, which is the Pope, only gets to a 5.5 on the scale out of 12 fundamental core biblical principles. The Mahdi gets a solid 9. Okay, he is way far above the competition. Let's look at exactly what he has. I'm sorry, guys, I need to get quicker on this. He arises from a 10-nation confederation. Okay, this is within the tradition of Islam. He arises from this 10-nation. His empire is the best descriptor of the lion, leopard, and bear. The Ottoman Empire, because remember, we said the Catholic Church received the wound. So within the Bible, the beast and the Antichrist are one and the same. So the beast is the empire. So the empire of Islam, the Islamic Caliphate, ruled for longer than the Roman Empire did. The Islamic Caliphate ruled, I think, for 200 years longer than the Roman Empire did as a whole. Then the Islamic Caliphate was abolished during World War I. This was literally 100 years ago. During World War, it was either 1 or 2. Okay? And they were abolished and the Ottoman Empire fell. Now, when the Mahdi returns, he's going to revive the Islamic Caliphate. That's what this revival of the Fourth Kingdom is. Okay? He will blaspheme the Jewish God and his dwelling place. He will blaspheme Jerusalem. He will blaspheme Yahweh, the God of the Bible. He will be a charismatic political military leader. He will wage war on God's people for 3.5 years. Now, we have to be honest here. The only mention of a time period of the Mahdi's reign is 7 years. Okay, so we're just interjecting that at the midpoint of the 7 years, he's going to break that peace treaty, and that's when he's going to. I believe what's going to happen here is he's going to. So he's going to make that 7-year peace treaty with the West and the Jews, and it's going to be the false peace. 3.5 years in, he's going to break it, and he's going to declare jihad on the world. He's going to declare jihad on anybody who does not submit to Islam. Okay? He's a charismatic political military leader. He will sit in the temple of God. There's literally a tradition where the Mahdi will go to the Baitul Maqdas. The Baitul Maqdas is an Islamic term for the holy house. He will set up the caliphate in the holy house. There's also the image of the beast. I've described this in other areas where the image, the minaret, causes people to bow down. And, Islam already has you bow towards Mecca. I believe he will make you bow towards this image in Jerusalem. He's of the Assyrian descent. He honors a foreign god of war. Is there any better god of war than, maybe the Roman god of war, to be honest, because he's literally called the god of war, but the god of jihad, Allah, this God who allowed Muhammad to raid caravans in the beginning of his time. In the beginning of his ministry, he allowed him, like, imagine a Christian. God was like, oh, go raid a caravan. You know what I mean? It's terrible. That was the first couple years of Muhammad's reign. What else was I thinking? Jihad, strike terror into the hearts of unbelievers. That's what Muhammad did. And the Mahdi is the successor of the Muhammad. That's what Caliph means. He's the successor of Muhammad. He's going to be in the very image of Muhammad. He's even going to bear his name. I think it's Muhammad ibn Ubdallah or something like that. Yeah. So that's that. Okay. Sorry. He's of Assyrian descent. He will deny the Father and the Son. I have to point this in your heads one last time. If you're going to stay in this chat for any longer, hear me on this point. He will deny Jesus Christ as the Son of God. That is fundamentally what Islam does. They do not believe Jesus was the Son of God, and they believe that he did not die for your sins. So there was no forgiveness of sin. There is no atonement for sin within the Islamic religion. He will deny the Father and the Son. He will attempt to change times and laws. His kingdom will fundamentally be divided, and he makes a 7-year peace treaty. So that is the tier list video of today. Okay. I hope you guys really enjoyed it. Now, before we leave, this is what really frustrates me is people don't really understand what's going on. Because a lot of people say, oh, I don't see how Islam could, and we're going to look at some objections real quick. I don't see how the Mahdi could proclaim to be God. So that doesn't make any sense. I don't see how, Islam could get the world to submit to him. How could Islam be the new world order? How will Islam control the economy? But what they're not understanding, what they're not understanding is if you say the Pope, if you say King Charles, all of these other candidates, they are terrible according to the biblical principles that we have given. The Mahdi is the only one that makes sense. Every candidate's going to have issues, but the Mahdi is the only one that has the lesser amount of issues in the theory. Am I making sense to anybody? You know what I mean? Charles scored a 2. Out of all of the biblical principles, King Charles scored a 2. And he is the most famous candidate for the Antichrist today. Everybody's talking about King Charles. He scored a 2. He's not Assyrian. He's not any of these things. The Mahdi literally fits every category. There are only a couple minor issues, which is how will the Mahdi proclaim to be God? We'll get into it in a second. How will he get the world to submit to him? We'll get into that, but I want some comments. Okay, I'm not understanding that, brother. Daniel says, makes sense since I have ears that hear anyone that says King Charles is blinded. I agree. It's a bad theory. It makes zero sense. It's important to understand that there are 1.9 billion Muslims. Correct. That's nearly 25% of the world. Okay, so people who say Islam can't control the world, and this is my brother Jonathan. I appreciate you, man. You know what for. For those who say Islam can't control the world, I want you to understand this. This is going to be one of the objections. If the Mahdi was to come onto the stage today, okay, so let's say tomorrow the Mahdi comes on the stage, immediately 1.9 billion Muslims are going to be expected to submit to him. When there's a caliph within Islam, what needs to happen is there's the Bay'ah pledge. The Bay'ah pledge, I was just talking to Dave about this, I don't know if he's in the chat, is a pledge that every Muslim believer needs to make to the caliph. So it's a pledge that you give your entire life, you give your entire belongings, you give your entire allegiance to this man. So 1.9 billion people are going to be expected, according to this religion, to submit to the Mahdi. That's 25% of the world. Then the Islamic Jesus, this is where it starts getting really crazy. The Islamic Jesus returns to the earth. He says, I was never the Christ. I never died for sin. I was just a Muslim the entire time. I was just waiting in heaven to return to explain to you that I was never Jesus Christ. But that I was Jesus Christ, but that I was not the Son of God. That there is no forgiveness of sin. What his purpose is going to do, this is the false prophet according to this view. What he's going to do, it's going to be his goal to convince the world to join Islam. So you already have 25% of the world that are Muslim, that are Islamic. The Islamic Jesus, he's going to go to Germany. He's going to go to France. He's going to go to America. He's going to be the false Christ that Jesus was telling us about. If anybody comes in my name, do not believe him, because he will come in my name and he will literally say, I am the Messiah. I was the Messiah, but I never died for sins. Convert to Islam. You were wrong. And actually, if you're within my region, you're going to get killed if you don't convert to my religion because you're believing in a false Jesus. His name is Dajjal. For those who don't know, Dajjal is the Antichrist to the Muslim. So what's going to happen according to the Bible is it says many are going to fall away. Many are going to hate one another. Many are going to give people up to their brother and sister. That's what happens when, within the Islamic religion, they're expected to actually tell their leaders about like if a woman doesn't submit to Islam, like in some country, she could actually be killed. And that's what the Bible, and that's what Jesus was saying is, look, when some people kill you, they think they're going to be offering a service to God. It's because this false religion of Islam is going to be the Antichrist kingdom under these two leaders that rise up. And so when the objection is posed right here, how will Islam submit to the world? There's two figures there's one figure who's the internal, that's the Mahdi, 2 billion people. Then there's the external, which is the Islamic Jesus. It's his goal to convert the rest of the world. And I'm sure there's going to be at least 4 to 5 billion people that are going to fall for this. It's going to be a massive, massive deception. So, okay, Doggone says, dude, I'm so glad I made it to your shot. Go vegan, everyone, because God wants you to love animal. I eat meat. Sorry, I'm not a vegan. I wish you well, though, in your vegan journeys. Okay, so Jericho, compared to Dajjal and see how many points he gets. He will get less than the Mahdi, I guarantee you. He will get less. Well, let's text about it. So that's it for today, guys. I hope you guys really enjoyed this. I enjoyed doing this. I'm thinking of doing a false prophet video, so we'll probably go ahead and do the false prophet tier list. A lot of you are gonna be mad. Okay, I've seen some comments right now. Oh, I'm out of here. I can't believe this. This is terrible. There's a lot of ingrained beliefs that people have to get out of their system. Many people have this American-centric view of the end times. That's what we're dealing with as Christians today. For those who are in the live, this won't make it into the normal video because nobody wants to hear this. But when you're in the chat, you're going to hear this now. We need to be Bereans. We need to be Christians who get in the scriptures. The scriptures are fundamentally Middle East. This is going to be our job moving into the end days, because Islam is not going anywhere. Islam is currently invading. Literally, if you ask some of the Muslim leaders today, they literally call the immigration into Europe an invasion. I've seen some specific scholars call it the second Muslim invasion of the West. They view it as their duty to bring the Islamic religion into the West, into America, into all of these areas. And so that's what's going to happen, is there's going to be this intermixing. So I won't bore you with the details. Next live stream, I go live Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. So we go live 4 times a week. Comment below any topics you want. Become a member if you guys want to. And peace and blessings. Love you guys. Peace out.